Hi and welcome for the part 2 with Dima Khatib. I'm so happy to have you with me. Thank you for your presence. I'm so sorry, my English is not really fluent, but I will do my best.
Ah, on parle anglais déjà. En espagnol, une langue en arabe, on fait comment?
on peut faire toutes les langues, tout va bien. Mon anglais n'est pas parfait, donc je fais de mon mieux.
Bon, allez, non, je suis sûre que tu vas. Je t'ai écouté dans ton podcast. Ça va? Tu te débrouilles bien.
J'essaie de me débrouiller. Donc, j'ai reçu beaucoup de questions, quelques questions en anglais. Et je pense que c'est important que d'autres mamans comprennent. So, how do you balance between your work and your son without feeling guilty?
Oh, I said earlier, actually, I do feel guilty. I think it's impossible not to feel guilty, but I think it's okay to feel guilty because you can channel the guilt into energy that can help you come up with creative solutions. So, for example, if you know that you didn't spend much time with your son or your children this week, and you feel guilty about it, don't let the guilt eat you. Use the guilt to go find a way to spend more time next week. And the thing is, it's never going to be perfect. Never. Not going to be perfect. You know, you have to understand it's a process all the time. You're always trying to find balance. There's never going to be a time where you're thinking, oh, it's working perfectly at work and working perfectly at home. I don't think that ever happens. It's working perfectly at work, and it's probably messy at home. People are hungry. They're not happy because you're not there. They're upset. You're stressed. It's working perfectly at home. Probably people at work think that you are not, you know, involved enough. So you have to deal with this. It's always going to be this side and that side. But it's fine. It's a process. Don't be too harsh on yourself.
Right.
It's fine.
Yes. And do you have tips for moms to not or to reduce this feeling?
Spending quality time with the kids is very important. Quality time means you're not sitting at home on your phone pretending that you're spending time with your son.
Yes.
Or with your children. Spending quality time means also you're doing the things that your children like to do, not just the things that you like to do. Right. Spending quality time means also that you listen. Most of the time we are so driven by guilt that all we do is like dictate, go to sleep, get dressed, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? Spend time listening. Like bonding is based on listening. You cannot bond with your children if you don't listen, if they don't feel heard. And I think it can be a conversation, it can be a walk together, it can be anything, any form. I try to always find a space that I share with my son. Like in my case, we share music together. It can be anything. It can be a physical activity. It can be a movie to watch. It can be cooking. It can be anything. Depends obviously on the age of your child. But a trip together, a weekend, whatever it is. So quality time is very important, and also being very transparent with your work. I think it's important. People will respect when you show them limits, when you show them that your family is important, they will respect that.
Yes.
And I think it's important that they know. I sometimes have come into executive meetings with my son sick. He has high temperature. I was not going to leave him home, and I did not to go to the executive workshop. So I walked in. I actually just sent a message and said, I'm coming in with my baby or my son, just so you do a security pass for him. I did not ask for it. And I came into the meeting. I was the only woman. I'm always the only woman. I was the only woman, and he just slept. He had temperature, so he just slept on my lap. I did my job perfectly. He didn't even cry. Nothing changed. And I think people saw that nothing changed. I was the same Dima they know. I was just as smart, just as capable. And all I did was make sure that I come to work and not jeopardize my son's, health. So when you do these things, people at work respect those limits that you put.
Exactly.
So that helps you also relieve yourself from the feeling of guilt. And you know what? COVID-19 is a great opportunity for us to revise our work model. Why don't we allow moms to work from home partly and make it like, a system, make it something that is an option for parents, for young parents, even young fathers as well. I mean, I think it showed us now, COVID-19 showed us that we can be much more flexible than we ever thought. And so why not? I will want to do this with AJ Plus. I will want to relook our model of who comes to work all the time, who can work partly. I would like to work partly from home. I think it's fantastic that I don't have to rush in the morning. It's fantastic that when he comes home, I'm not stressed. I'm not coming like, hey, cooking, dinner, whatever. Did you do your homework? This, that. And I'm stressed from work as well. So I am irritated, very quickly when he says something or doesn't do something. And this is not a good thing to do every day in and out. So I think it would be fantastic if we took, COVID-19 as an opportunity.
Yeah. And did the maternity make you more rational or more spiritual, stronger or more sensitive?
Maternity made me better, all levels. More skilled, more empathetic, and a better leader, that's for sure. I think maternity teaches leadership for sure. Yes. And I think there's research on this. I have not read it, but from my experience, I think that the fact that I learned to forgive my son for whatever disaster he may cause in the house or anywhere else makes me capable of doing this with anyone. Which means understanding the perspective of the other, not judging them, forgiving them, and then working with them on the solution. Use that at work. It's fabulous.
I think it will help many mothers to better live their maternity. I hope. Are you sometimes losing temper with Faris?
Yes, of course, yes.
And how do you deal with this?
I lose temper with Faris, and it is something that worries me, and it is something that I am working on. Right now, during COVID-19, I decided I really need to work on not losing my temper with Faris, especially because we're stuck here at home, and he's always sitting there at the computer, and I'm like, no, computer, you live with a computer, you live with me. And it's actually pushing me now. This quarantine is pushing me to work on how to manage my temper better with him, and how to find a better way. He's becoming a teenager. It's going to be more challenging. How to find new ways to bond with him at a different level to when he was much younger. I also need to accept that he's a teenager, which is difficult for me to accept. I'm also in the process of reading about this so I can also give him, I don't become a limiting factor in his life, rather a place where he feels he can be free and not run away from. I know a lot of teenagers run away from their moms. And yes, somebody asked me if I'm a single mom. Yes, I am a single mom. So yeah, you know, teenager and single mom is not, I know it's not easy, but
it's not easy. Yes,
it's something you have to always work on yourself, but not just as a mom, in general. And this is many people ask like for tips. Never accept that you have reached your potential and that's it. Never accept that. There's always more that you can do. There's always more that you can work on. There's always more that you can improve. I'm studying online at the moment. I'm taking lots of courses and I'm working on understanding others better, understanding me better. And I think it's very important that you keep exploring all those things that you can improve.
Do you think that in the Arab world, being single mom is a shame, or is nothing a good thing? I don't know how to how I can say this, but can you tell me? Do you have judgment or?
Yeah, I think almost everything in the Arab world is a shame, you know. Yes, I think it's there is a sort of pressure, definitely. I think my family stopped asking when I was going to find a new husband and stopped asking me, you know. I think my family has given up on that. But yeah, I mean, there is always like, oh yeah, she's like, there's always a reason they have to find of why you are a single mom, which relates to something you did wrong. You know? And to be honest, to me, it's all noise. I don't pay attention to that. I think I'm very proud of my maternity. I'm so glad I'm a mom. Now, whether or not I marry again or whether I go into relationships or not, I think I'm so over this. I don't really even pay attention to it. I take it as a joke. I just laugh. Like when they tell me, anyway, you're too skinny to find a husband. I laugh, you know, things like that. And they tell me this online. You know, they say lots of stuff. People are very evil online sometimes. They tell you horrible things, you know. And they think that if I'm successful, there's no way that I would like get married and be successful, right? So they actually write, you'll never get married. And then people write, no, she has already kids, you know? Like, what? Oh, you can be successful, career woman, a leader, and like have kids and have a family? What?
Oh, right.
Of course you can, yeah. But and, I think it's difficult to make the decision. To make the decision of breaking up a marriage when you have kids in the Arab world, I have to say it's very difficult. Even for me, it was difficult. You know, the noise then is like everybody telling you, you know, it's gonna be very difficult for you to bring up a child by yourself. You know, like accept. But it's tough.
I know that people is bullying on you on the internet. And je vais le dire en français, on t'a déjà menacé de mort, toi et ton fils. Comment tu as géré ça? Tu peux répondre en anglais.
On m'a menacé de mort, on m'a menacé I got threatened like many times in several countries. So in Venezuela, they said they were going to kidnap him from school. Okay. They wanted me to stop tweeting about something in particular. And you know, Venezuela is a place where you can pay someone to do this, and it's cheap. It's easy. So, you know, like, and then I was, during the Gulf crisis, it was really hell. I was receiving threats on my phone saying that they were coming after me and they were gonna do horrible. I mean, I don't want to repeat their stuff. It's really horrible, but like, it always ended with like either hanging me and my son in a public square, or like saying they would cut us into pieces, which they did actually to Jamal Khashoggi, a colleague from Saudi Arabia, right? So, you know, it's not fiction. They actually do this stuff. It's really scary. So how do I deal with this? I try to protect him from finding out first. And I try to protect him from the stress of me knowing that there is this, like, this reality out there of evil people. And I try to always be reasonable about what is an exaggerated threat online and what is a real threat. And when I need to, I actually tell the authorities. If I feel the authorities can help, I actually warn, you know, somebody or somebody. And, you know, in the GCC crisis, I actually packed a small bag so I could run away very quickly. If really, like, if it turned out to be true that they're coming after, they sent me daily threats, and they knew so much about my life, you know. I was not the only one. A lot of people from, you know, Al Jazeera. But yeah, in Venezuela, I had to, I didn't send him to school until I, like, figured out where that threat was coming from. Because yes, they can kidnap him in Venezuela. And in the end, I left Venezuela. I left, and seriously, part of me leaving was because I felt the threats were becoming too much for me to handle by myself with my son. So yeah, it is a real source of stress. Yeah.
How do you deal to maintain father-son relationship?
Oh yeah, you mentioned, someone asked. Yeah, you know, this is something that you need to nourish and work on. I think it's very important that you always encourage your children, if you're a single mom, to stay in touch with their dad. That you never say bad things about their dad. That you tell them about the good things. Show them pictures. I have albums of when I was with his dad and how happy we were. And I talk about where we met. He always asks me, so tell me again how you met. So what did he tell you? So what did you tell me? And what about the wedding? And what about this? And you know, I tell him a lot of nice stories. Of course, telling him that we separated and why we separated was already very difficult. But once you go through this, then you need to nourish those positive ideas about love, about marriage, about, you know, about the relationship that his parents had before. So I encourage him to always be in touch with his dad. I tell him I praise his dad all the time, and I make sure they see each other regularly. I make sure his dad is aware of all his issues and all his achievements. Yes. It's important that you keep that kind of transparency and communication, because otherwise he will pay the price. Your child will pay the price.
Yes, it's really important to maintain this relationship safe. Yes. Tell me something about you that people don't know.
I already told you a lot of things. I think people, you know, people never really know if I am a single mom or married or whatever. You know, I never talk about this. I always keep it very private. So I already told you things that people don't know about me. That's it. Not telling more.
Okay.
I can't think of anything. That's all. I just can't think of anything right now.
You told me that you have a lot of anecdotes about breastfeeding. Can you tell me more?
You want me to tell the same story, the French, or another one?
No, another ones. I want to know other ones. It's for my personal curiosity, you know.
Okay, so breastfeeding story. So which one did I told you about?
The president of Bolivia. And
okay, there is one. I mean, I don't know how much people can accept like such details, but you know, I'm gonna go ahead and try my luck. So I was in Brazil, in the middle of like a kind of like countryside, and the sun was setting. the cameraman was saying, okay, we have to shoot now your stand up, you know, your piece to camera. And I was pumping milk out because I needed to keep the production going while I was away, obviously. And, you know, he was insisting that we had to do it like immediately, that the sun was setting and then there wouldn't be enough light to do the stand up. So I had to stop, which meant that I emptied one breast and the other breast was still full. So I had on camera, I had like one breast that is double the size of the other breast.
I have to find these videos.
And I was hoping that nobody would notice, because I mean, what was I gonna do? I was not gonna say to the cameraman like, let me finish, or you know, and I was hoping that nobody would notice this. And even if they did, I mean, what was I gonna do? We were gonna go back to Sao Paulo right after, so I would miss the whole story, like the whole reason why I came to the countryside. So that was it. I either do it or don't. So I said, well, to hell, you know. When I looked at the footage, I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm the only one who can see this, but it was just very embarrassing. Yeah. And
je vais
like
chercher cette vidéo. Je vais vraiment les chercher.
Non, mais je vais pas te dire la. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oui, ça c'était vraiment très drôle.
Yeah, I told you I have a lot of anecdotes, but somebody asked a question over there. Did I separate amicably?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Did you separate amicably with the father of your son? I think
50-50. I don't know if you can separate fully amicably. I think that's I don't know. I think it's difficult to do it 100% amicably. I would love to think it's possible, but I think there's always going to be, I mean, this is a person you got married to. It gets very emotional. And it's never easy. You go back and forth, you think about it, you know, it's always complicated.
There is another question. What's your advice for a new mom in Doha dealing with the lifestyle, international schools, weather, make friends, and meet moms with similar interests?
Oh, that's Shayma, right?
Yes.
Okay. The international schools, you need to continue. If you're worried about language, then you need to continue speaking Arabic at home. International school will take Arabic culture out of your son's brain for sure, and heart, because they will win their heart with the easier English language. And it's tough, Shayma. You have to insist on continuing to speak Arabic and try and, you know, nourish that culture at home as much as possible with interesting things. So that's a big effort to make. Lifestyle, I don't know. I make your own lifestyle. I don't need a country to tell me what lifestyle I need to have. Make your own lifestyle. Meet moms with similar interests. Well, here we are calling out any mom. Shayma is here. She's looking for friends. So,
don't hesitate to contact her.
The weather, you will get used to it. Just don't be afraid of it. Go out, you'll get used to it. I go jogging in this heat and it's fine. I don't faint. I'm fine now. I got used to it. You'll get used to the weather.
And what values you want to give to Faris?
Yeah, you know, this is a thing. This is the thing that a lot of people discuss with me. Like my cousins, for example, think that I taught Faris things different to what maybe the rest of the family is teaching the kids. So obviously, honesty, transparency are very important values. Respect are very important values for me. but also critical thinking. I don't want him to be respectful blindly. I want him to be respectful because he knows why. I want him to love with respect and therefore also with critical thinking. I want him to be honest because he knows why it's important to be honest. So I taught him to be a critical thinker at a very young age. And I remember a cousin of mine who came to Venezuela, he said, your son is impossible. I have to explain to him everything. Like we say, let's go. And he's like, where are we going? Why are we going there? What are we going to do there?
Curiosity everywhere.
He's questioning. Yeah, he's questioning. He's like, no, this is not how you do it. This is how you do it, you know? So he's like, he's not taking orders blindly, just following. So, you know, I remember my cousin told me, you're going to have a lot of trouble with kids. He's going to give you a lot of headache. But I didn't want him to be just a follower. I wanted him to be a thinker. And I think one thing that I taught him, and I think it's important for me, is empathy. I think it's very important that, and he is very empathetic. He's empathetic with me. Like if he sees I'm stressed and stuff, he comes and he's like, oh, do you need anything? You know, he's really, and it's powerful to see that in a child. I think he's more empathetic than like most people I know, adults. So, you know, I'm glad that this worked with him. So yeah, this is what I can think of right now. And hard work, I think I'm trying still to do that. It's not working yet. Like that hard work pays off. I don't think he's very convinced yet. He doesn't believe in the school system. Of course, I made him a critical thinker, so he thinks the school system is not good. He doesn't believe in high grades. He doesn't think it's important to get high grades. He thinks it's just a number, and so what? It's just a number, and somebody else gave you that number, and who is that somebody? It's just a somebody like you know. And I'm like, oh, you know. It's like, it's okay. I'll continue going to school, but you know, I know, you know. So, you know, bringing him up as a critical thinker, it's true. My cousin was right. I always have to, you know, convince him of things.
What
Arabic? Zainab wants us to speak Arabic.
Okay.
And sorry, Khawla is asking whether I speak to him in Arabic. Yes, I speak to him in Arabic. I taught him Arabic since he was a child. We said that earlier. He speaks fluent Spanish. He speaks perfect English, and he hates Fusha.
Ah oui, me too.
He hates Fusha. Today I was trying to teach him some things in Fusha, and he's like, "Why
It's really
complicated? Who made it
sounds so complicated?"
Yeah.
Okay, in Arabic.
زينب عندك سؤال محدد؟
I speak Moroccan Arabic, so
أنا يعني زينب ممكن تسألي سؤال محدد باللغة العربية وممكن نجاوبك عليه.
نجاوبك وي بصح. شو تغير فيك فاش وليتي أم؟
شنو تغير فيها؟ أدركت أني امرأة، أني أنثى. كنت ناسية أني أنثى قبل الحمل. يعني كنت عندي الجانب الذكوري أقوى من الجانب الأنثوي بحكم عملي وسفري. عملي كان يتطلب قوة جسدية، ذهنية، عقلية، نفسية، عاطفية. فأنا نسيت أني أنثى. يوم صار معي الحمل تذكرت أني أنثى، وفعلا استعدت هذا أو تعلمت، مش استعدت، تعلمت فعلا معنى أني أكون أنثى. فهذا أهم شيء، وهذا شيء كثير مهم طبعا. Il y a quelqu'un qui écrit merci à toi.
Je l'ai dit.
ممكن أعرف طبيعة عملك؟ أنا صحفية. في حد سأل طبيعة عملك؟ أوكي.
صحفية، ولكن أكثر من صحفية اليوم. بس
بالنهاية صحفية، يعني أنا أعتبر في النهاية هذه مهنتي يعني. فأنا صحفية. شوفي زينب تقول عندك الحق، حتى أنا
يلا وحسيت بنفس الإحساس.
صحيح. ف فوالا هذه ردينا عليك بالعربية.
بالعربي. ولكن كتفهمي مزيان العربية ديال المغرب؟
ايه نفهم مزيان. نو مش بارل، نهدر الدرجة الجزائرية.
اوكي.
نو وعندنا في اي جي بلس كل الجنسيات العربية. وحتى يعني من هواياتي كان دائما يعني تعلم
اللغات.
لهجات وليس فقط اللغات.
داكوغ.
ايه يعني مهم.
كتكلمي 7 اللغات سي سا؟
ايه.
وشنو هما؟ دونك عربية، فرونسي، انجلي، اسبانيول.
اسبانيول، l'italien, l'allemand, le
allemand,
portugais, le
portugais,
chinois, je parlais aussi.
chinois.
Et
Ok,
chinois.
donc 8 en fait. 8
Oui.
langues. Si on compte l'arabe,
Oui,
il y a
mais
la langue Zema, la langue maternelle.
la langue maternelle, c'est l'arabe.
C'est l'arabe.
Ah oui. Et en deuxième lieu, c'est le français. Après, l'anglais, j'ai appris, j'étais adolescente, et après, c'est l'espagnol.
D'accord.
How did your work environment change when you became a mom? Yeah, Rania. Okay, we'll answer this in English since the question is in English. It changed. Well, I completely transformed my office. I had a bed, a small, like, you know, those like do it all in one, like the baby can sleep, can play, and you know, I bought one for the office. I had mat, I had all kinds of toys, and my son was staying with me in the office. I was living in Caracas, so I would pick him up from the nursery and take him to work after 6 p.m. and he would stay with me there until we finished whatever time. He would crawl on the floor. I would breastfeed him. It was like baby stuff all over, baby stuff everywhere I went. So my work environment turned into baby friendly environment. أنا نسمع ديما تحكي، بحب اللهجات، تقول أنا
طالعة شكون؟ فين تسكني؟ أي بلد؟ ديما
في قطر حاليا.
قطر.
في قطر. في قطر نسكن في قطر. Voilà.
Ok. Merci vraiment Dima. C'était super de discuter avec toi. Sur la première partie et la deuxième partie aussi.
Bah voilà, merci à toi, merci à tout le monde. شكرا للجميع. Thank you everyone. وإن شاء الله نلتقي في فرصة أخرى.
Absolument.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci Dima.
Bye.